there's what they're called a traditionalist. There's a traditionalist. There's a boomer. There's a Gen X, and there's a millennial, all communicating at different rates. There's the one who says, write me. There's the one who says, call me. There's the one that says, email me. And the one that says, text me. For my part, we serve the generation that says, text me, that 25% of the population between the ages of about 15 to 29 who needs WhatsApp me, who says, look, sis, who says, look, who says, look, they need, who says, look, I need 3G, I need 4G and Wi-Fi for me to feel socially connected, Mr. Speaker. And so they're savvy, they're cutting edge, they don't trust government, they don't trust technocrats. And we also serve another part of that generation, that population. We serve the church group, we serve the disconnected youth, we serve those youth who are in rural areas, we serve youth with disabilities, and all of them are working in this changing world because they actually want a better life. And so every single one of them as a part of that generation is competing in a world that is rapidly changing, Mr. Speaker. And we have to equip them or they will be left behind. And so this reality of this data-driven world gives our youth actually the best opportunities that they've had in a long time. It has leveled the playing field where they can be connected in a world without boundaries. And so we've been shifting the conversation with our youth. We've been saying to them, look, this is what you have to do to now keep connected. And I really want to thank those youth who are here, they're in the gallery, a group of them, who have not only been critical of the work that we've done, because they have the right to do that, but you have young Jaden, who is also in the gallery, young Jaden Johnson, who sees Jamaica leading as a tech capital of the world. He's a young Monroe student. We also have youth. We also have young people with disabilities who are here, and other youth who are part of our NYS programs. All of these young people that we cater to look at Jamaica through different eyes, but they all want one single thing. They want to improve the quality of their lives and make sure that they have something to live up to for their families. And that's what we have to do for them. We have to connect them, and we have to keep them connected. So here's what we did to shift the mindset and starting a new conversation with our young people. We had to get into their spaces. Last year, we actually increased our online membership from 46,000 to 117,000. We also went on the ground, and we took the ministry to them in our Pond the Corner reasonings, and we reached out to thousands of young people across the country. But in terms of our high school, we redoubled our effort, we added more resources, and we now have 300,000 young people as a part of the National Secondary Students' Council movement. And I want to congratulate Charles McKenzie as the president of that student council. And although our ministry is just one ministry of 8 working with youth, in the last 3 years, we've been able to train and impact over 51,000 young people and place about 36,000 of them in seasonal and temporary jobs, Mr. Speaker. That has not been an easy feat. Mr. Speaker, I also want to say that in terms of our permanent employment through our graduate work employment program, we now have 350 young people in permanent jobs because we listened to them and we gave them the experience and the internship. And because of those temporary experiences, now we have a situation where they're permanently employed. Mr. Speaker, last year we gave our young people 8 additional options at the National Youth Service, which impacted about 13,500 young people. What it actually meant is that we gave them access to training for the in-demand jobs. So we made sure that we gave scholarships for them to study at the Caribbean Maritime Institute, at CASE, at the Brownstown Community College in terms of information technology. And also we gave them access to entrepreneurship programs to make sure that those who wanted us to start a business could. And we spent about $322 million on those programs. This year we're spending $344.6 million on youth programs, and we have even bolstered them even more on top of the ones that we have there to impact about 15,000 young people this year. So we've moved the numbers that we've been able to impact all the way up to 15,000. Last year was 13, the year before that was 12,000, and the year before that was about 7,000. And so we're making sure that we're going forward. And so I wanted to talk to you today about some of the programs that we've implemented, what it is that we've done. We have an empowerment program. where we're going to teach our young people basic and professional development skills and work experience. And we will make sure that we continue to work with our existing 101 participants and add another 50 participants. We also have the financial assistance program, where there's a finance grant that will be given to post-service participants pursuing tertiary education, and 300 students will be able to achieve this. We also have the enrichment programs geared at engaging youth in activities to focus on character building, career development, volunteerism, and cultural awareness for 155 on top of the 73 that are already in the program. So we're not leaving anybody because you're finished the program. We're continuously monitoring you. We have the entrepreneurship program to make sure that 200 young people who want to go into businesses, we help them to go into businesses. And that is on top of the Entrepreneurship 101 program, where we're going to be exposing, as we did last year, about 4,200 young people to entrepreneurship understanding of what it means to start a business. Because we can't expect young people to understand that you want a job. Somebody has to create them. And they have to understand how to take the risk, or there will be no jobs out there. We also have the Access to Success Through Knowledge program, an interactive mode which would deliver personal and professional development to 4,200 Jamaican youth. And of course, a summer work employment program for the 5,000 young people. And I really want to say thank you to the PSOJ, because we know young people want private sector experience, and the NYS has signed on with us to provide those 5,000 with access to private sector jobs. And we anticipate that we'll actually take it up to 6,500 based on what the PSOJ is actually saying to us. Mr. Speaker, as a rural MP, I wanted to make sure that we had access and possibilities for rural youth, particularly youth who have lost an interest in farming. And so the Rural Youth Empowerment Through Entrepreneurship program is a program with a 4-H club to use entrepreneurship and teach rural youth about farming and other things that they can start businesses through the 4-H. And certainly, finally, Mr. Speaker, the Access to the Higher Education program, which we will continue with programs with CASE and other access to Brownstone and the Caribbean Maritime Institute. And we will make sure that at all times our volunteerism is key to what our young people have to do. So if you're doing the NYS programs, you also have to be able to give a number of hours for volunteerism, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this year the ILO says that, look, you're going to have to create 500 million new jobs to satisfy the world's demand by 2030. Because every year there are about 150 million people who turn 16 and go into the labor market. They've said to us that the world economic unemployment rates for young people between the age of 14 to 24 is now at crisis peak. There are about 73 million young people in the world who are unemployed. And in Jamaica, we have about 65,000 young people who are unemployed. But we're doing our part, and we're bringing down those numbers. So the National Youth Survey said, look, there are 63% of them who say that careers and jobs are the most important things to them. And that is why we signed the MOU with the PSOJ, to be able to have them take from the pool of 5,000 young people for summer employment, and also the 300 from GWEP, to put them in jobs in private sector as well. And we anticipate that it will take it up to about 6,500. So anybody in here who wants to talk to us about a job bank, we have the young people there. So on top of the entrepreneurship programs that we're giving them, we're also giving them opportunities to access private sector jobs and to also get experience in other areas. In the other thing that we're doing, Mr. Speaker, is a program between CPTC and NYS to identify 31 youth across the island to be trained in media production over a 6-month period. It's a paid internship program. And this will be a production pod that will produce a youth program. And so they will be the hosts, the producers, the videographers, the script writers, the researchers. And they will produce 39 episodes over a 17-month period. And they will be paid through the NYS as media practitioners. Because as a part of developing content, we have to give them that experience, and then the other batch will come on for 2017, 2018. Yes. Mr. Speaker, when I was coming here today, I don't know how many of you heard, but there was a young disabled student who was raped right down the road. And it is something that hurts me, as I said, to my core every single day. our youth with disabilities are the most vulnerable in our country. And I see them, and they're also socially excluded. They're almost children of a lesser God. And so one of the things that we're putting in place at the NYS is we've not only reserved 10% of our spaces for people with disabilities and youth with disabilities, but we're giving scholarships to 6 graduates of the Edna Manley College to spend the day and do artistic work in the life of a person with a disability, particularly a young person. Because we feel that it will give the person with disability the social inclusion and the kind of desire to feel loved, but also it will capture in the mind of another young person studying what really happens to a person with a disability living in Jamaica. And so those 6 scholarships will be provided this year. I also know that many of us, as members of Parliament, are connected with our young people and have tasked the NYS to work closer to the members of Parliament, to come to you personally and design training programs with you, because I know you have different cadres that our programs can help you with, and to see how we can also utilize our resources along with yours to push better programs, to give you a more individualized personal attention and touch. Mr. Speaker, I turn to the YICs very quickly. We'll be building, and we'll be opening 2 this year, the Spanish Town YIC and the Hanover YIC. And the YICs will be open in June. We will be placing greater emphasis of youth at risk and unattached youth and youth out of school, and youth with maladaptive behaviors and delinquent youth registered within the school system. This reintegration program, Mr. Speaker, will be a multi-sectoral approach, and it will address issues in this group. We're hoping to reduce crime, we're hoping to reduce delinquent behaviors in secondary school, and we're hoping to increase self-acceptance, self-efficacy, and self-worth among our young people. I want you to listen carefully, because while we'll be spending approximately, this government, Mr. Speaker, and listen, because we did the analysis, and we saw that this government is spending $89 billion this financial year on programs for youth and projects. That's 14% of the budget across 8 ministries. I want to assure this House that the Portia Simpson Miller-led government is not demanding action only from ourselves and you, but we're putting the resources in place to make sure that it happens. And with this in mind, Mr. Speaker, we must coordinate and collaborate to get the best outcomes from the monies that we spend. That is why I'm pleased to announce today that we're tabling the National Youth Policy. Because this revised policy, and it started under the member in St. Catherine, some of the research, we're now taking it to this point, is a coordinated approach that will make sure that we get the best bang for our buck. What it will see is the partnerships between the ministries entrenched in a strategic plan, in a monitoring and evaluation plan, in a youth act that puts youth at the center of the country's development. And it will also deal with youth mainstreaming and programming, because we believe that the research has to be ongoing. Youth can't be living in a changing world in Jamaica and feel that it is business as usual. So as a policymakers, we have to make sure that this policy guides the work that we're doing and the $89 billion that we're spending on development, to make sure that 1, we're not duplicating projects, 2, they have the best bang for their buck, 3, we're equipping youth for jobs that actually will exist, so that they don't go to university and then come out and say, well, I have my degree and I cannot get a job. So all of that under this policy now, this is a green paper, and I urge all of you to take hold of it and to read it. The ministry, the youth division in the Ministry of Youth and Culture is now going to be focused on the policy development, and this is going to be bolstered by an interministerial committee, Mr. Speaker. Most importantly, it will bring together all the ministries and agencies working with young people so that our objectives, as I said before, are aligned. Mr. Speaker, the mission of the Ministry of Youth and Culture is to ensure that we prepare our youth to take full advantage of the world that exists today, and to see themselves as global producers, connected and empowered, rather than consumers disconnected by a marginalized world without boundaries. But, Mr. Speaker, the world has never offered so much opportunities to our young people. And that is actually just the truth. However, make no mistake, the quality